MS-DOS, or Microsoft Disk Operating System, was released on August 12, 1981, with the final version released September 16, 2000. MS-DOS was the result of the language developed in the 70s that was used by IBM for its mainframe operating system. Operating system for 86-based personnel computers, mostly developed by Microsoft. Collectively, MS-DOS, its rebranded IBM PC-DOS, and some operating systems attempting to be compatible with MS-DOS are sometimes referred to as simply as DOS, or Disk Operating Systems. Although MS-DOS and PC-DOS were initially developed in parallel by Microsoft and IBM, the two products diverged in 1993 after 12 years, with recognizable differences in compatibility, syntax, and capabilities. MS-DOS was the main operating system for IBM PC-compatible personal computers during the 80s and early 90s, when it was gradually superseded by operating systems offering a graphical user interface. During its lifetime, several competing products were released for the x86 platform, and MS-DOS went through 8 versions, until development was ceased in 2000. MS-DOS was still being used in all the subsequent operating systems that Microsoft was releasing until Windows 10, where it was replaced with PowerShell. However, it can be forced to be used if the user chooses to. Users can also download an emulator program known as DOSBox, where they can enjoy the classic DOS games. MS-DOS was a renamed form of 86-DOS, which was owned by Seattle Computer Products and written by Tim Patterson. When 86-DOS was initially written, it was named QDOS, which stood for Quick and Dirty Operating System. Microsoft, which was in need of an operating system for the IBM personal computer, hired Tim Patterson in May of 1981 and bought 86-DOS 1.10 for $75,000 in July of 1981. Microsoft kept the version number, but renamed it from 86-DOS to MS-DOS. They also licensed MS-DOS 1.10 to IBM, who in August of 1981 offered it as PC-DOS 1.0 as one of the 3 operating systems for the IBM 5150. Within a year, Microsoft licensed MS-DOS to over 70 other companies. It was designed to be an operating system that could run on any 8086 family computer. Each computer would have its own distinct hardware and its own version of MS-DOS, similar to the situation that existed for CP/M, and with MS-DOS emulating the same solution as CP/M to adapt for different hardware platforms. There were many different versions of MS-DOS for different hardware, and there's a major distinction between an IBM-compatible machine and an MS-DOS compatible machine. Some machines, like the Tandy 2000, were MS-DOS compatible but not IBM compatible, so they could run software written exclusively for MS-DOS without dependence on the peripheral hardware of the IBM PC architecture. Microsoft omitted multi-user support from MS-DOS because Microsoft's Unix-based operating system, Xenix, was fully multi-user. The company planned to, over time, improve MS-DOS so it would be almost indistinguishable from the single-user Xenix. Microsoft also used a variety of tactics in MS-DOS and several of their applications and development tools that, while operating perfectly when running on genuine MS-DOS and PC-DOS, would break when run on another vendor's implementation of disk operating system. With the introduction of Windows 3.0 in 1990, the easy usability of graphical user interface severely diminished the usage of MS-DOS, which is based on the command line. When Windows 95 was released, an integrated version of MS-DOS was used for bootstrapping, troubleshooting, and backwards compatibility with old DOS software, particularly games, and no longer released as a standalone product. In Windows 95, the disk operating system called MS-DOS 7 can be booted separately without the Windows graphical user interface. This capability was used through Windows 98, but removed for the Windows ME version. Windows ME retained the ability to make DOS boot floppy disk, and it was able to be hacked to restore full access to the underlying DOS. Windows 10 finally removed the ability to create a DOS startup disk. MS-DOS is still used in embedded 86 systems due to its simple architecture and minimal memory and processor requirements, though some current products have switched to the still maintained open source alternative. All versions of Microsoft Windows have had MS-DOS-like command line interface called Command Prompt. This could be run many DOS and variously Win32, OS2, and POSIX command line utilities in the same command line session, allowing piping between commands. The user interface and the icon up to Windows 2000 followed the native MS-DOS interface.